So this video is all about the heart, AS level biology. I'm going to start off by showing the basic bits of the heart so that you know what I'm talking about. So this is the right side of the heart and this is the left side of the heart. It's the opposite way round to the way your hands are because I'm looking at this as if there's someone standing in front of me, and this is how the heart looks on them. So this is the right side and this is the left side. The right side has the deoxygenated blood, which is represented in blue. The left side has the oxygenated blood, represented in red. And I'm going to show the main four chambers of the heart first. The four chambers of the heart, we have two atria, the right atria and the left atria, and we have two ventricles, the right ventricle and the left ventricle. Start off by saying that the atria have very thin walls. This is because they don't need much muscle to push the blood straight down into the ventricles because it's directly below. But the ventricles have much thicker walls that you can see here. This is because they have to push the blood much further around the body. The right ventricle has to push it all the way down to the lungs, which are below here, for gaseous exchange to gain oxygen. And the left ventricle has to push the blood all the way around the body. So that's why it has much thicker walls here than the right ventricle and the atria. So basically, the way the blood moves through the heart, it's all about pressure. When the pressure is increased in one chamber, the blood will move into the next chamber. Start by saying about the atria. So when the atria is contracting, this is called systole, the pressure will increase in the atria, causing the atrioventricular valve to open, and the blood will flow into the ventricle. This will then go through systole, it will contract, pressure increases, semilunar valve opens, and the blood will go out through the vessel around the body. So that's the basics of how that works. And I'm going to tell you the order in which that happens. So the atria will contract, increase in pressure, atrioventricular valve opens, goes into the ventricle, semilunar valve opens, out through the vessel. The way the heart works is it's myogenic, which means that it has its own electrical impulse, which means if you take the heart out of the body, it will continue to beat because it works itself. So this all starts by the pacemaker, which is where the electrical impulse starts in the heart, and that's called the SAN, the sinoatrial node, which is in the top of the atria. This will send out an electrical impulse around the walls of the atria, causing it to go through systole, which is contraction. The electrical impulse will then reach it's like a non-conducting tissue layer, that's the word. It's a non-conducting tissue layer, and that stops the impulse falling straight down to the bottom of the ventricle. So it will stop there, then it will hit the atrioventricular valve, which will open. This will allow the atria to contract and allow the blood to flow into the ventricle. Then there is a pause. This allows the atria to finish contraction because if the ventricle were to contract then, there may be backflow of blood back into the atria, which you don't want. So there's a pause, it allows the atria to finish contraction, allows the blood to finish going into the ventricle. The atrioventricular valve then shuts to stop the backflow. The impulse, the electrical impulse, will then travel around the walls of the ventricle, called the bundle of His, through fibres called Purkinje fibres. So it will go through down the bundle of His, and from the apex, which is the tip of the heart, it will contract upwards. So systole of the ventricle will contract upwards, pushing the increase in pressure, pushing the blood out through the semilunar valve and out through the blood vessel. It's important also to say that there is the SAN, which is the sinoatrial node, in the top of the atria. The second node involved is the AVN, which is the atrioventricular node, which is around here, around where the atrioventricular valve is. So it all happens in that order. It's quite a complex process, but it all makes sense. It starts up here, round the walls, this closes, there's a pause, goes round the walls of the ventricle, this contracts up here and out round the body. It's very simple, but it has to happen that way, otherwise there could be all sorts of problems going on in the heart. And the same thing happens in the left-hand side. So I've just demonstrated on the right, just because it's easier, but the same thing happens in the left. Although when the left ventricle contracts, the blood is carried around the whole body, which is why we have the big, thick muscles there.